Howdy, my name is Armon Alex. I am with the Gulf of Mexico Youth Climate Summit. I'm a co-founder alongside Maggie Peacock. Um, Maggie and I co-founded the Gulf of Mexico Youth Climate Summit in the middle of the pandemic when we were sharing frustrations around the lack of access around academics across the Gulf of Mexico. I was going to university at the time at Texas A&M University, and my background is primarily in environmental science. And I do believe it does have a strong connection to why I got involved in more of the specifications around organizing, specifically because being born and raised here in Corpus Christi, all of the stories that I'm able to share with people and learning about the intricacies of science and the role that it plays in our health and our ecosystems, but then also the intersections of that and socioeconomics and social inequalities. I knew that I was able to piece together the stories of growing up in Corpus with now the sudden, new things I was learning at university. For instance, I can recall a moment when I was young, my father and I were along the seawall fishing, and I very much remember a very strong, pungent smell in the air, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I can recall it smelling almost as if it was like a heavy, sharp gas, and we were not that far away from the inlet of the port of Corpus Christi. Taking that story, realizing now that we have such a strong presence of fossil fuels in our community, I was able to put these together. Oh my gosh, I feel like lessons learned during organizing, that's half of the thing. Like I mean, I think I went into it thinking we're gonna go door knocking and talking to people, get them on the right side, um, and make some difference. It doesn't happen always that quickly. And I think lessons learned for me is has been definitely a lot of self growth, a lot of self education, making sure that I feel, you know, prepped enough to prepped enough to talk about a particular piece of local issue, whether that be water quality, lack of water access, pollution in the air, etc. Wanting to know enough about it so that whenever I have a coffee side chat or a door-to-door conversation with one of my neighbors, I can really have a real conversation with them. But other lessons learned, I think going into it, you make assumptions about people, like, oh, they have this particular looking house. There's no way that, they're gonna have the same opinion as I am on this particular issue. But one thing I certainly have learned is looks can be deceiving, and it doesn't matter what someone's background is. Whenever it comes to our most basic needs, like clean air, clean water, clean land, we agree that we all have a right to those things. And it's been a really, really refreshing reminder doing organizing work that is something that does connect us to our neighbors, whether they live in a certain zip code or a certain district within the city. Those are the things that connect us as humans, but then also, yeah, the human part, reminding each other that at the end of the day, we can see the humanity in each other, that you deserve clean air, you deserve clean water, you deserve clean land, and together we can accomplish that if we're arm in arm. If I had to offer some advice to folks that want to get involved, just take the step. Um, I wouldn't agree that someone has to know absolutely everything to get out there and start communicating or talking rather to your neighbors or your coworkers or your family. I think organizing for me started at home. My grandmother, her first language is not English. She immigrated here from Matamoros, which is right across the border in Mexico. in the 60s. And so one of my loves for science communication, but then also helping people better understand their living conditions, I think definitely came from having conversations at the dinner table with my grandmother. And so organizing can look like many things, but I certainly would advise start somewhere close to you, a family, a friend, perhaps. Have those kind of conversations. Remind yourself that, of course, it's going to be easier that they're people, find the humanity in them, and then do the same thing whenever you get to go door to door or tabling at an event. Reminding yourself that the people you're talking about live in your neighborhood, are a part of your community. Start somewhere, because the only barrier we have is not starting at all. I think my vision for the Coastal Bend is I wouldn't say plain, but pretty straightforward. I got started wanting to do this work because, you know, I have a mother, I have a sister, and I have a grandmother. Women have always played a really important role in my life. Our family is very matriarch. And so whether it was just wanting to protect them or wanting to make sure that they understand the complexities of science and their health, that's where it starts for me. A vision for the Coastal Bend is a Coastal Bend where my mother, my grandmother, and my sister can drink clean water, can breathe clean air, and be one with our soil, work with our soil to have clean soil and clean land. So yeah, I think that the truth is, no matter where you live in this area, you can't escape it. Clean water is something that we all want. When we see fossil fuel companies guzzling down our water, it impacts us to some extent. When we see the pollution in the air, breathing that in, it affects us to an extent. Whenever we have, runoff or pesticides, or the rain bringing down chemicals out of the air and into our soil, it impacts the food that we eat. Fossil fuels and its toxins are something that we're not able to escape. It affects everyone. And I think that people should get involved, because whether it's your mother, your sister, or your grandmother, or your brother, or your friend, or even just yourself, you should still want to be able to care for those individuals. And knowing that there's also an opportunity for you to leave something behind worth fighting for, I think that it brings me back to finding the hope in all of this chaos that is around us. In order to address those things, we have to take action somehow. And one step forward is just, the beginning of a journey.